Hey everybody, and welcome back to a new live tutorial here in Photo TV NYC, where we have live tutorials every day in English at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. in Spanish. Today's photo is thanks to Clay Banks. He provided this photo to UNSPLASH.com, where you can find thousands of photos free of charge. Now, our objectives are going to be to add light, locate our focal point, as well as add drama. So we're going to be doing this by separating our subject from the background. If you do want to follow along with this tutorial, please do remember to download the same photo. You can watch the tutorial right now, then download the photo and come back. You can see the recorded version, and this way you can pause and just go at your own rhythm. Please do remember to subscribe if you feel that you learned something on this tutorial. We would love to have you and for you to join us on many other tutorials throughout this year. Hit that like button and let's start. So over here we have my working space in Lightroom. I am on the develop module right over here, and I'm just going to change this actually to red so you guys can see better. Over here. And we are on our basic tab. So I'm going to close up all of my different other tabs. There we go. Open up your basic tab and we're going to start with our exposure. What we want to do is just brighten up slightly the photo. Something like this. And we're going to be adding some contrast. Now, what we want to do is add contrast because we want to make those blacks richer and those lights lighter. So now we're going to go to highlights, and in highlights we are going to just go on a negative value because this is going to help us on this area in particular, over here and over here, with the details that we have on the brick or on this clay material that the cave is. Now I'm going to give it some dehaze under presence, give it some clarity and some texture. Now dehaze, if we do zoom in, and you can press your Z anytime just to zoom in, we are going to be able to eliminate that haziness that the photo has. If I do reset it down, then my blacks just really go around gray. If we augment it, it's going to help us bring our blacks deeper in. Now our clarity is going to help us bring in some sharpness as well as the texture. Texture is going to give us some sharpness on the fine details, like on this cave and this stone material. Now we're going to go to vibrance and saturation. And in saturation, we're going to augment up to around 14. And vibrance as well. So I always like to do a little combination of both. Saturation gives us 100% more saturation on all of the pixels, while vibrance only adds saturation on the areas that already have some color. So I'm going to leave it on 15 for vibrance and 14 on saturation. You guys can play around with it and decide what your vision and what your intention as photographers tells you that it should be. Now, for me, it went a little bit too yellow and too orange, so I am going to go to HSL tab, which is Hue, Saturation, and Luminance. And we're going to go to Hue, make our little tool active, the circle with the two arrows on top and bottom, and just select an orange area of the stone and bring it down. We don't want to go too much, but if we slightly bring it down, it's going to become more red rather than orange. On our manual controls over here, I want you to go to the yellow slider, and on the yellow slider just very slowly slide it to the left, and that's going to make our yellows a little bit more orange. Now that we have adjusted these colors, I'm going to leave my little tool behind, close up HSL, zoom in on him with my Z, and I'm going to see that on his jacket the highlights look a little bit too blue for me. So I'm going to go back to basics, and on my white balance I'm going to adjust my temperature just slightly to the right. I'm going to add +3, You can also just type it in. Now the reason that I want to go ever so slightly is because it is a JPEG, the white balance sensitivity is very, very extreme, so you just want to do a little bit of white balance, just a tiny bit subtle adjustments, because these subtle adjustments are going to add up to make your photo go whoa. We're done with our basic tab, so we're going to go down to effects, and on our post-crop vignetting effect, on the first slider, we're going to go slightly to the left. As the photo already has some vignetting on the bottom, over here and over here, we just want to add a little bit, and -11 is good for me. So now I want you guys to press your K key, and on your K, that's going to bring us to the brush tool, and with our brush tool, we're going to be adding some light to the already existing areas where we have some light. So zoom in with your Z, make sure you have a smaller brush. You can always make it larger with the right bracket and smaller with the left bracket. And I want you guys to be in exposure 1.5. So just paint in some brightness, some light on him. Augment our contrast. We're gonna just slightly go lower. 1.2 is good for the exposure. Contrast is 30. And we're going to add some dehaze to make that black a little bit blacker. There we go. Zoom out, make a larger brush, and you can just reset the effects by double clicking on the word effect. Place your exposure. You have to press first new to make sure that we're on a new one. I was actually affecting the one that we just created. And your exposure is going to be on 1.3. So right now we're just going to add some light over here on the areas where we already have light in the entrance of the cave. It's going to make it lighter, making it look like a brighter day, and a darker cave on this area. So you can always unhide our brush adjustments and click on it to make it active. I'm going to click on his, go to zoom, press O, your hotkey O, and that's going to make your mask appear. And now I can confirm that I'm on this actual mask, and I'm going to see the adjustments because I did adjust the other one and reset it down. This mask actually was affected by that, so I'm going to just redo it, and we had 1.2 for exposure, we had around 24 for contrast, and the dehaze around 33. And there we have it. And over here you can see your before anytime just by pressing the backslash button. We can see it on screen now. Here's your before, where the photographer had an intention of leaving the photo a little bit flatter, and here we added so much more contrast. We separated the subject from the background, and it has more of an impact for the spectator when the viewer is seeing it. Over here you can see what we learned today. We learned that dehaze, clarity, and texture for drama. These are tools that can add drama to a photo, but you have to be very strategic when you use them. We learned how to draw light on areas that already have light to enhance the positive and the negative spaces of the photo, and we did this by using selective adjustments. Please do remember to subscribe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow again at 12 with a new photo, every day live, 12 p.m. in English and 3 p.m. in Spanish. See you guys, and thank you for joining.